Good evening, everyone, and I would like to call our City Council Committee of the Whole meeting for Wednesday, April 3rd, 2019 to order. And at this time, as we do normally, our moment of silence, you know, we lost a true treasure in our community. Amy Rowell worked for World Relief. She had worked for the YMCA for many years. I was honored to be at her visitation last night. She died suddenly of flu symptoms after about only a week. There were literally hundreds and hundreds of people there, but more importantly, it was the most diverse group of people that you may ever see, with all the work she's done around the world, around the community, and talking about somebody who leaves a legacy. Help us all think about that and how we can leave a legacy for the people behind us. With that, let's take a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask Caden, Cameron, and Ricky to come up a minute with me. Alderman Grip is going to help us. Let's all say our pledge of allegiance. Ready? Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, guys. Let's head back. You can get back to your seats. Thank you, Caden and Cameron and Ricky and Morgan, too. Thank you for being here tonight. They have a little sticker for you. Thank you, Alderman Condon, for help put those together for us and make those happen. Now, let's have the roll call, please. Brian, please.
Ambrose.
Here.
Condon.
Here.
Rawson.
Here.
Dickman.
Here.
Tompkins.
Here.
Grip.
Here.
McGinnis.
Here.
Fluel.
Here.
Mattson.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
10 present, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Brian. And good evening. And as we begin our meeting of our City Council, I would again like to welcome all those in attendance and those who are viewing the meeting on television or on the internet. We respectfully welcome your comments and opinions, and please keep in mind that as you talk to the council, you're also sharing your thoughts with fellow Davenporters and with viewers throughout the region by way of our TV broadcast. We are happy that you're participating in your city government and ask that your participation reflect the common desire we all share to make Davenport an even greater place for all of our citizens. For the children, adults, seniors, and families in our community, those in attendance and those watching at home, I thank you for joining us. At this time, we ask that you turn off or silence your cell phones and other electronic handheld devices, as they can be disruptive and interfere with the audio system here in the chambers. If you wish to address the council on a specific item that appears on a committee agenda, you are encouraged to do so during that standing committee. You will also have an opportunity to address the council under the public with business portion of the meeting, which will occur towards the end. When addressing the council, I ask you to step to the podium, wait to be recognized by myself or the committee chair, and speak to the council as a body and not to any single member. We will ask that you limit your remarks to no more than 5 minutes, and I ask that everyone observe, and I know you all will, the commonly accepted rules of courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste. So thank you again for all being here. We're going to ask for our city administrator update in just a moment. But first, I would be remiss if I didn't recognize my friend, Mayor Marty O'Boyle, who's visiting here from Eldridge. So Marty, thanks for coming tonight. Let's give a nice round of applause. Thank you. Now we'd like our city administrator update.
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you, Corey. We have a proclamation this evening, and Alderman McGinnis is going to read that proclamation.
Thank you, Your Honor. Whereas today's libraries are not just about books, but what they do for and with people, and whereas libraries of all types are the heart of cities, towns, schools, and campuses, and whereas libraries have long served as trusted and treasured institutions where people of all backgrounds can be together and connect, and whereas libraries and librarians build strong communities through transformative services, programs, and expertise, and whereas libraries, which promote the free exchange of information and ideas for all, are cornerstones of democracy, and whereas libraries promote civic engagement by keeping people informed and aware of community events, and whereas librarians and library workers partner with other civic organizations to make sure their community's needs are being met, and whereas libraries and librarians empower their communities to make informed decisions by providing free access to information to all, and whereas libraries are a resource for all members of the community, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status, by offering services and educational resources that transforms lives and strengthen communities. And whereas librarians, libraries, library workers, and supporters across America are celebrating National Library Week, now therefore we, Mayor Frank Clips, and the Davenport City Council do hereby proclaim April 7th through April 13th, 2019 as National Library Week in the city of Davenport, and encourage all citizens to visit one of our 3 outstanding libraries this week to explore what's new, engage with library staff, and see how libraries transform. Dated this 3rd day of April, 2019. I move the proclamation.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Great, and I think we're going to welcome up tonight, accepted by the library board president, Steve Imming, the director, Amy Groskup, the library trustee, Sylvia Roba, and Laura Jennis, who is the president of the Friends of the Library. Thank you all very much for your involvement, this hard work, transforming our library. Thank you, Amy, for all the work you do. And, well, I guess we're going to get, excuse me, why don't you get in here? And I'll sort of to the side. Yeah, we got to get our photo out there. There. Thank you. Great. You want to say a few words, Steve?
Libraries do
Use
trans.
that side, will you? 'Cause
I'm sorry.
that's you'll be on camera that way.
Okay. Hi.
Which we all want.
Yes. Libraries certainly do transform. In addition to having all types of books available, libraries also offer ways for people to get employment, computers to use, just a myriad of wonderful programming, and just all sorts of things. Books on tape, how to fix your car, all kinds of things. And so, as libraries work to transform the community, we appreciate the proclamation of National Library Week. Amy?
Thank you. Amy, you want to say something? Please.
So, as you all know, one of our goals has been to increase access to library materials to all the kids in the community. And we've heard from a lot of different sources that library fines can be a barrier to library use. So parents with young kids are pulled in many directions, and the idea of dealing with returning library books exactly when they're due can seem like just one other thing to keep track of. The result can be parents who don't want their kids to use the library, or who might limit to 5 books when their child really wants to take 10 out and could really get through those 10 books in the time period. Or if a family accrues fines on their child's materials and can't afford to pay, then the child is unable to use the library and participate in programs like the summer reading program. So to remove this barrier, starting tomorrow, all Davenport Public Library juvenile materials will be fine free. So as long as they come back, no harm, no foul. There won't be any fines accrued on those. Materials still have to be returned, of course. And as an extra bonus, I want everyone to know that starting Monday, all of the River Share libraries, so all of the libraries on the Iowa side of the river in the Quad Cities, all of their J materials will be fine free as well. So that will be across the board in the Iowa Quad Cities. So.
Well, thank you very much. And I think if ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been to the library, it is not the library that maybe many of us went to when they were kids. I have the honor to be at the libraries on a pretty regular basis, and they're community centers. They're bringing people together from all parts of our community. There's so many unique things going on, and even to the point I want to thank you and your staff, because when it really for severe cold, it became a warming center as well, doing whatever it takes to make this community as great as we know it can be. So thank you, Amy, Steve, and the whole group for all your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we have 9 public hearings this evening. Our first area will be community development, and Alderman Rawson will lead that public hearing with Alderman Ambrose assisting.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 2 public hearings this evening. I'll start with the first one. I open public hearing on the allocations for year 45, which is July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020, Community Development Block Grant, also known as CDBG dollars, funds, and Home Investment Partnership Home Funds, all awards. And before I ask if there's any public, I will ask Fred Klassen to come up and say a few words. He's the Vice Chair of the CAC.
Thank you, Councilmember Rawson and Mayor Clips and City Council for giving me an opportunity to speak. I am privileged to represent a group of 15 people, all volunteers that were appointed by you people, and it is our duty to recommend to you how to disperse the Community Block Development Grant, which is approximately 1.4 to 1.5 million. We are in a position where we have to estimate what we think we're going to get before we get it, so we work on where we think it should go and how we should think it should go, and then when it's all done, if it comes in and it's the right amount, then everything's good. If it's a little higher or a little lower, then we meet and reallocate and do what we have to do. I have a letter that I read to you a couple of years back. I'm not going to read it to you again this year. I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the organization and what we do. As was stated by Councilmember Rawson, we are the CAC, the Citizens Advisory Committee. We provide advice to you on how to use these funds that we get from HUD. We have a process where we start with an application review. We have a workshop for those organizations that think they might want to apply, and then we help them fill out the applications. When that's done, then they turn in the applications and are, according to a scale that we have, according to a chart that we have, we rate the application, not the organizations. We rate how that application came in. And we also consider past performance. Did they apply before? Did they use the money the way they were supposed to use? All these things. Did they turn in their reports on time? All these things enter into our final calculation. And each member scores these organizations based on points. And this is what we're talking about here. There's 2 separate sections. One is the city section, and one is what we call public services, which might be the Big Brothers and Big Sisters, Salvation Army, and several others. On the public services, it's a cap, but we can only give them so much money, and it's based on a % of what we have. So we have to operate within those boundaries. We're given a set of rules by HUD. So we put those rules basically into our application process. And I know it may seem cumbersome to some of the organizations that apply, but we don't ask them for anything that we don't have to tell HUD. And that's basically our mantra on that. A couple of years ago, we were at like 2 million, almost 3 million. In the last couple of years, we're 45% off of what our high was. We received, I think, 1.5 last year, and we're anticipating 1.4 million this year. We can't shift money from the public services, we can't shift money from the city's section into the public services. Those are, as I said, capped. They tell us what percentages we can do. We begin the process. We did the workshop. We get the applications. We review it. We score them. Those scores are compiled, and then there are a series of points. Those points become dollars, and we recommend to you what the award should be. before we do that, we meet together as a group and we talk about it, and should we adjust this one, should we not adjust this one? And we try to pretty much adhere to the formula, because that's what we've done for the last few years. It's worked pretty well. The applicants have an opportunity to come and speak to us and present and showcase their materials, show us what they're doing, tell us about that, and we look forward to that every year. We will get together, we meet once a month. Usually, sometimes we don't, because there isn't going to be any actionable business in front of us. But generally, after the applications are done and we've turned it over to you, our job then becomes to administer and make sure that it's all being done the way they said it was going to be done, and that the money is actually being spent and it's not just sitting someplace. And so we spent a lot of time doing that also. We met earlier in March and we came up with an improved plan, which is the plan that's going to be before you. For CDBG, the home section, same thing, only we didn't recommend the home section. That's done by the staff here in your the City Hall. Staff does that for you. And before I go any further, I would like to thank our staff, because they do an outstanding job of keeping us informed, of answering our questions, and of keeping track of all the records and things that we have to do, making our job very easy. So a huge thanks to them. Let's see, allocations are based on the criteria. They're changed every year. One year somebody might get 100%, the next year they may not. Depends on the application and how it came in. Requests are made, we deal with it. They score them, past performance counts, I said all that. So I guess we of the CAC, the Citizens Advisory Committee, recognizing the time, the effort, and the commitment invested in the process, request that the council accept our CDBG recommendations for the upcoming year, and would like to thank the mayor and council members for allowing us the opportunity to serve the community in such a meaningful way. And I personally thank you also. Any questions? No questions? Oh, okay. Sorry. Nope.
That's all right. Thank you, Mr. Klassen. And thank you for your time on this, as well as the other members of the Citizens Advisory Committee. It's a volunteer group. You're appointed by us council members, and it's a great endeavor because you decide where those federal dollars go. Is there anyone who would like to comment on this item as part of the public hearing from the audience? Seeing and hearing no one, I close this public hearing. It's been a motion and a second. This public hearing has been closed. The second and final public hearing this evening. Oh, I'm sorry. We should do something small called the vote. All in favor of closing this public hearing, say aye. Any opposed, same sign. All right. Now the public hearing is officially closed. Second public hearing for this evening on the proposed conveyance of the following properties as part of the Urban Homestead Program. Property number 1, 1412 West 15th Street, parcel H0010-04 to Kelly Torres. And the second property is 1501 Eastern Avenue, parcel E0016-22 to Kelly DeBolt. And both of these young women are here this evening and would like to address everyone in the room. So do you want to come up first, Kelly? Or whichever, pick one. Go ahead and state your name and address.
Okay, my name is Kelly Torres. My current address?
Well, what's going to be your new address?
Okay, 1412 West 15th Street.
Very good.
This is my daughter, Morgan. I just kind of wanted to take this time out to thank you guys for even the opportunity to own a house as beautiful as that. I've been working really hard to give my kids something that we can kind of, some stability and not have to move around so much. And we're really looking forward to it. And yeah, just thank you for the opportunity. I work locally as a social worker in mental health in the Quad Cities, so I'm excited to bring some positive vibes to the new neighborhood. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Go ahead and state your name and your new address for the record.
Sure. My name is Kelly DeBolt, and my new address will be 1501 Eastern Avenue in Davenport. These are my children, Caden and Cameron. Just wanted to thank everyone for letting us have this opportunity to get this house. My kids have never known living in a house. We've only lived in apartments since they've been born, so they're very excited about this. They're active and would love to be out there in the big backyard and have their own bedrooms. So just really wanted to say thank you, and we look forward to moving into the house.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to comment on this item? Oh, yes, come on up.
Yeah, Fred Klassen, and I'm in 4405 Regency Place. I just wanted to say that those were two houses that were partially funded by CDBG.
Well stated. Anyone else from the public that would like to comment on this item? Seeing and hearing no one, I close this public hearing. Second. There's been a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. We got the vote in that time. Any opposed, same sign. This public hearing is officially closed, and we're done with community development, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Rusin. Our second area is Public Works. Alderman Dunn will lead that public hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 6 public hearings this evening. I open the first public hearing on the ordinance to change the name of a section of East 60th Street to Duggleby Avenue, located in Eastern Avenue Farms, 5th Edition. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Seeing none, I move to close this public hearing. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? This public hearing is closed. I open the second public hearing to review an application for the State Revolving Fund loan related to the proposed improvements to the city's 1930 Interceptor Sewer. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this public hearing? Seeing none, I move to close the public hearing. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, that public hearing is closed. I open the third public hearing on adopting the Davenport Go Multimodal Transportation Plan and an estimate element of the City of Davenport Comprehensive Plan. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this public hearing? Please step forward and state your name.
Mayor, Council, I'm Molly Aden Carlson at 1621 Marlowe Avenue, and I also represent Visit Quad Cities. I'm here today on behalf of the 1.6 million visitors we enjoy annually here in the Quad Cities. Tourism officials and cycling advocates sometimes refer to tourists as bicycles with wallets on wheels. That's because they stay longer in any city or state and spend more per day than any other tourist group. Oregon, for example, has found that bicycle tourism contributes $400 million a year to its economy. That's roughly $1.1 million a day. Developing and maintaining 2 great and interconnected urban pathways in the Riverfront and Duck Creek trails, and beginning the development of new trails like the Goose Creek system that connect neighborhoods to these facilities is just brilliant. Wayfinding is always top of the list for our visitor surveys. It's vital when they consider returning to any destination, and that's when they want to spend their dollars. I, as the voice of the visitor, ask you to strongly consider adopting the recommendations for Davenport Go. Thank you.
Or anyone else? Please step forward and state your name and/or ward.
Yes, Tom Donahoe from Davenport. I'm an advocate with the Quad City Bicycle Club. This plan that we've got in front of us with Davenport Go, that's a very excellent and well thought out plan. Positive impacts of this on public health are very well known. I think you're aware of that. Piece of data is that every year the American College of Sports Medicine puts out a list of the 20 healthiest cities or fittest cities in the country, and of those 20, 19 are bicycle friendly, 10 are walk friendly and transit friendly. So this is an important part of public health. But more than that, it's important to our business climate here. My company, the one I work for, and a lot of other large employers here, we recruit people from all around the country. We don't have enough talent in the local labor force to meet our employment needs, so we have to be able to attract people from everywhere. And these kind of transportation options are things that our employees, people that we want to get to move here, they expect those. And when we don't have things like that, it makes it difficult for us to recruit, and it makes it difficult for us to meet our business goals. And so I encourage you to adopt this plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there, Kyle Carter, Davenport, and Executive Director for Downtown Davenport Partnership. I too would like to support our organization's support of this goal. The gentleman who spoke before me kind of stole my thunder. That was the angle I was shooting for. I think there really is a retention recruitment element to this, in addition to quality of life, and of course the riverfront and the bike trails absolutely interact with downtown and hopefully 3rd and 4th Street someday as well. So I will keep it brief. I think there's plenty of other folks here you hear from less often than me. So I'm going to get out of here, but Gold Star, we think this is great.
Thank you. Next.
I'm Kathy Wine. I live at 2500 East River Street in Davenport. I'm Executive Director of River Action, so I'm going to represent some of our thinking on this wonderful plan. And I first want to thank you all for the investment and the time and the wonderful plan that it is, and really look forward to it being adopted. I was in a meeting this week when someone said, I just dream of the day when our area, the Quad Cities, is listed in Outdoor Magazine as one of the best places in the nation, one of the top 10 places in the nation for outdoor recreation. And I ditto that. And we work hard to also bring kind of biking events, river events, and so on, outdoor recreation to the Quad Cities. But in one thing in particular, I'm really excited about, and I just brought this page from the plan. When I look at that and see how downtown streets can connect to our new First Bridge project that will connect people across US 67 to a brand new park in Davenport, and all the neighborhoods, Cork Hill, all the people living downtown north of this 3rd and 4th Street to the riverfront trails, it's just a wonderful plan. So I encourage you too to adopt the plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please step forward.
Good evening, Council. My name is Eric Soderstrom. I live at 4416 Bell Avenue. I'm a resident of the 6th Ward, that makes me. I'm an engineer by training. I have degrees in mechanical materials and metallurgical engineering. I'm also a licensed professional engineer through the state of Iowa. So you could say that I'm fairly well versed in gathering, analyzing, and making informed decisions. I commend the entire Davenport Go team for their work. I participated in several of their meetings, as well as their surveys, and I've spent many hours reviewing their 200-something page document. We have the opportunity here to design and engineer a sustainable system in our community of all forms of transportation, improving the mobility and aesthetics for vehicular travelers, pedestrians, as well as cyclists. I've lived in many places throughout the United States, including Illinois, Colorado, Pennsylvania, and now Iowa, and I've witnessed firsthand what happens when communities neglect infrastructure development. I've also lived in communities that are thriving and growing because they update and they change their infrastructure to support active, healthy, and safe lifestyles. The goals that are outlined in the Davenport Go plan reflect the kind of community that I would like to live in, and I encourage you to support and implement the plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to address this public hearing? Please come forward.
I'll start talking before I go out. Dean Mathias, resident of Milan. I'm probably in Davenport 5 days a week for yoga, food, and other things I can come here for. I'm a member of the Bi-State Trails Committee, member of the Quad City Bike Club, Ragbriar, every year since '99 and years before that. So thank you so much, Davenport and the Visit Quad Cities, for getting us through Ragbriar. It's always something to look forward to get home and touch your tires in the Mississippi River right here in hometown. What I have in my hand and it ties in with what I passed out to Brian earlier, the Quad Cities Metro Map, and the Metro Map is also indexed and referred to in the Davenport Go plan. So I was wondering if you could just open that quickly. I'll give you 47 seconds if you can on there, maybe a couple more. But the cool thing is about the Metro Map, it's just what we are as a community. And if anybody wants to hold theirs up, I don't know how many people have ever seen a Metro Map before. But we're in the middle of another edition of the Metro Map. It's coming out. It's going to be upgraded. There's Veterans Memorial in Davenport will be added to that. There's another section. The new Moline, the I-74 bridge, there's a future reference to it on the map, and there's also a pedestrian crossing on John Deere Road. So that community is moving forward. And while you're looking at that, I wanted to show you this. There's a story behind this, and it reminds me of what Davenport Go is at. This is the Moline. I was fortunate. I'm just a guy that's in the right place at the right time. This is the Moline Bikeways Plan that was created back like in 2012. And their goal, very similar to Davenport Go, was to make it within a half mile, have some kind of bike boulevard, have some kind of access, be it on the street, whatever it is, get everybody in the city of Davenport, in this case, is the city of Moline, just get them out and about, give them the dose of the day. Nobody should have to spend a day locked away. And people that are working, people want to go out for the half hour for their lunch period. An interesting thing about this, we did this, and it sat on the shelf for 4 years. And then an interesting thing happened. The Illinois DOT, we had a public hearing meeting because they were doing John Deere Expressway. I walk in, and here's the Moline Bikeways plan plastered up there. It says, we're designing around the Moline Bikeways plan. So there was an opportunity, a tremendous opportunity, to incorporate their bikeways plan. If they didn't have this, it'd be up a creek. That would just be, everybody'd have to scramble. You need a plan. And I know everybody on the council may not like bicyclists, and I don't take it personally, because I'm a walker, I'm a runner. Someday I'll be in a wheelchair, and I'm hoping somebody gets off their bike and pushes me down the path. But I think everybody, wherever you're at, whatever ward it is that you're in, and the same thing goes for the Moline plan. We don't want everybody to be left out. And Davenport Go, as I went over the 122 pages, you don't want anybody in any corner of Davenport, and that's why the plan is so extensive. It has all these various variations of concentrations of just adaptations. You don't want to leave anybody out. You want anybody that's 95 years old that wants to go out for a walk someplace in a safe facility. I might be going over my time here. But you want them to go out. And I want to congratulate Mayor O'Boyle, because at the last Bi-State Trails meeting, they're moving in. They've got 2 more miles of bike trail from the railroad that they're bringing into the Quad Cities. They're bringing into Davenport. So they're on your northern doorstep. Buffalo just put a trail in. Moline, I have this. This is a FAST grant that I just helped write, a FAST grant just towards Moline, because they're putting a bike trail on 36th Avenue. They just got a Tiger grant because they're trying to do a river-to-river corridor all the way down to the Rock River Trail and the Quad City Airport. So what you do here is paramount. It's a tremendous opportunity, and I wouldn't worry about the cost right now. If you want to spend $10,000 getting something going, and that's all you've got budgeted for, then you have to do it. The city of Princeton is fighting tooth and nail to try to get just a trail of any sort in their town, because they want to get part of the Mississippi River Trail. It's a huge It's a huge entity, and I have the advantage, and I'll be done here in 30 seconds. It's just you have a huge opportunity. I don't want you to miss it. I don't want you to look in your rearview mirror and say, holy smokes, Davenport Gove is gone. It saddens me to even think about that. So the people come in to Ragbri, they can go any place within the city. And anybody, any schools, all access to all the schools. I was a teacher for 33 years in elementary. So and anybody in here that's a member that bikes, would you stand up? You don't have to be a member of a club or anything, just anybody that bikes. Okay, and keep standing. Anybody that walks. Anybody that has walked on the path in that, stand up. And anybody part of the city can too, I'm sure there's somebody. But I just want to thank you for, I don't want you to bust your legs out there. I just don't want you to run. And lastly, the reason I'm wearing this Air Force, I was telling Ray earlier, the Air Force vest is that this year I was made an honorary member of the Air Force team. I haven't been in the Air Force team, but we're always helping people out. And I'm trying to help you right now. Give us a, and if you have to direct your dislike to any biker, just direct it at me. Exonerate everybody else. That's what I'm saying. Thank you for your time, City. Davenport, and go.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else? Seeing and hearing nobody, I move to close this public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. This public hearing is closed. I open the fourth public hearing on the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the 100 block of East 3rd Street streetscape improvements projects. Is there anybody from the public wishing to address this public hearing? Seeing none, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. This public hearing is closed. I open the public hearing number 5 on the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the covering of the Kaiserslautern Square upgrades. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this public hearing? Seeing none, I move to close the public hearing. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. This public hearing is closed. And finally, public hearing number 6, I open the public hearing on the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the state patching program. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this public hearing? Seeing none, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. This public hearing is closed, and that concludes public hearings for Public Works, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Dunn. Our last area is finance, and the Chair of Finance, Alderman Mattson, will lead that public hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor. I open the public hearing on the proposed conveyance of partial Yankee 0621-05B Bravo, lying west of the residence at 6700 Jersey Ridge Road. The city of Davenport is the petitioner. Is there anybody from the public like to speak on this? Hearing and seeing no one, Your Honor, I move to close this public hearing. There's a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Back to you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Mattson. Next, we'll do our petitions and communication from myself and our council members. And Alderman McGinnis, as Chair of our Community Engagement, will give an update first.
Thank you, Your Honor. In addition to National Library Month, April is also Autism Awareness Month. April 14th, the Putnam Giant Screen Theater will premiere the next sensory-friendly showing of the film Superpower Dogs. Now, what that is a movie and theater environment that's modified to be friendlier to the senses that affect those with disabilities. It's being sponsored by the Autism Society of the Quad Cities. Tickets are $5 a person, and for more details, you can contact the museum, 563-324-1933. And now through April 6th, you can still purchase early bird tickets for Recycle the Runway, and you can purchase full price tickets after that. It's a signature event for Dress for Success. This is a group that seeks to empower women to achieve economic independence through a network of support, development tools, and professional attire donated by the community. Now, sometimes they get clothing that's not quite right for the workplace, and that's recycled in this event by 10 wildly creative designers. The event is April 18th. It's from 5:30 to 9. For more information or tickets, you can go to www.quadcities.dressforsuccess.org. And if you're beginning to plan your summer events, don't forget to check out workshops, camps, and other activities available through the Davenport Parks and Recreation Department. You can find details on a terrific 65-page online activity guide. You can go to the city's website and select Parks and Recreation in the drop-down menu to get to that guide. Some really great things that you could do with your family or with your kids this year. Just a reminder that sticker-free yard waste and drop-off is available through April 12th. The compost facility is closed because of flooding, but you can still drop off for free at the Scotts County landfill while the compost facility is closed. And then one thing, for the third ward, the next third ward meeting will be Saturday, April 13th, 10 a.m., Cedar Memorial Christian Church at 306 Cedar Street. We'll be talking warm weather safety with a guest from the Davenport Police Department, so you are certainly welcome to join us. That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman McGinnis. Alderman Mattson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to draw attention, and I know some of you are aware of it, and the mayor was wonderful to be at this ceremony Monday. But Davenport, as Alderman Ambrose always says, is America's greatest city, and there was an example of that on Monday. Davenport and the Veterans Administration opened the new, hugely expanded clinic in Davenport by the fairgrounds. And someone who is a service-connected disabled veteran who's been going to the Bettendorf Clinic for over 16 years, and 14,000 veterans just in Scott County, and from the 100-mile surrounding area having to drive to Iowa City to get your eyes checked and get your new pair of glasses and your hearing aids and all that stuff, and having to go there and find transportation. Now this hugely expanded clinic here in Davenport will take care of that. Chiropractic is added to that, and the space that was provided, because for my colleague who's a veteran, Mr. Kluhl, and others of the many people that I know trying to get into the clinic in Bettendorf and then having to travel to Iowa City, Davenport has set the standard now, and the VA, by coming here and expanding services so people don't have to, especially some of my colleagues who are a little bit older, have to drive all the way to Iowa City, which is a wonderful facility, but now these things can be handled here in Davenport. So to continue with that great theme of the best city, now we have one of the best VA Veterans Affairs clinics in the nation, and on behalf of my colleagues that are veterans and in the VFW and the American Legion, the VVA, and the DAV, we are so thankful that this new hugely expanded facility is now in Davenport. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Mattson. I would just share that was a great event, and the involvement was really awe-inspiring, and it's great being in the room with all those heroes that we're going to be take care of like they should be. So, Alderman Rawson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to remind everyone, or let everyone know, that tomorrow evening there's an exciting event happening at Me and Billy's. It's for the Kaiserslautern fundraiser / social. So if you want to enjoy some good food and awesome company, come down and join all of us. And our Kaiserslautern delegation. So Kaiserslautern is Davenport's sister city for 60 years now. We have a delegation coming from Kaiserslautern, Germany. They will be here April 10th through April 18th, and they will be here at City Council 2 weeks from tonight. So if you want to meet them or see them, you can be here. They have a full itinerary while they're here in Davenport and in the area. Plenty of opportunity to interact with them. So tomorrow evening is our fundraiser for this delegate trip. We're looking to raise some money to help fund some of the activities that we'll be taking our delegates to, because as everyone clearly understands, we're the greatest city ever. So we want to get them out there in the community and show them things while they're here. So if nothing else, stop down at Me and Billy's tomorrow from 5 to 7 and hang out with us for a little bit as we celebrate our sister city relationship with Kaiserslautern. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Rawson. Alderman Dickman.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just in honor of National Library Week, I wanted to remind everyone that it's not just the paper books that you can get at the library, though I have several of those on loan from the library right now, but also ebooks are downloadable through the Overdrive app. and you can use your RiverShare your library card to log in to access hundreds of those. Audiobooks both on CD and e-audiobooks that you can also download online. DVDs, our library director mentioned juvenile materials. There are tons and tons of kids' movies that I've gotten for mine and that are also available for in general. So I definitely encourage everyone to check out all of the materials that we have at the library, and it's not just paper books. Oh, and that you can request online, which is really great because we can get things, I think, as far as Clinton, I want to say. So pretty much any materials you could be looking for, we probably can get access to. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Dickman. Alderman Ambrose.
I'm very proud to say that this great new VA clinic is in Davenport's greatest ward in America's greatest city. And this great ward's going to have a ward meeting at the Fairmont Library next Tuesday the 9th at 6 p.m. We're going to have members of our great staff giving a presentation on the many wonderful programs we have to assist businesses and homeowners to improve their neighborhood. So you want to stop by and get some information and continue to make our city America's greatest city. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Ambrose. I would like to also remind everybody tomorrow is our second Mayor's Youth Job Fair. It'll run from 3 to 6 p.m. at North High School. We have over 30 vendors or companies that we are having available for individuals to meet, learn how to fill out applications, get the idea of the job experience. And I think it's important to understand, as we've talked about, we want kids to do not to do negative behaviors. We got to give them alternatives of what to do. And this is an opportunity with a lot of people we anticipate probably 150 plus participants. And again, I want to welcome Mayor O'Boyle. It was nice you bring your own bicycle cheerleader with you tonight, so that was good. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Seeing no one else, we're going to move on for our items for discussion. The first area of discussion is community development. Alderman Rawson will lead that discussion, and Alderman Ambrose will set the agenda.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 6 items for discussion under community development this evening. Item number 1 is a resolution for case F19-01, request of Ronald Dirksen for a final plat of Abby's estate on 0.36 acres located at 2305 West 67th Street, containing 1 lot in 8th Ward. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on this item? Anyone from council? Seeing and hearing no one, this item will move on. Item number 2, resolution for case P19-01, request of Grunwald Land Development for a preliminary plat of Westlake Settlement on 79 acres located in unincorporated Scott County, southwest of the Locust Street Interstate 280 interchange, containing 47 lots adjacent to First Ward. The note here, staff and planning P&Z Commission do recommend denial of this request. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on this item? Is there anyone from council? Alderman Kluhl.
So I wonder if someone from staff could talk about why annexation would be a bad idea for Davenport.
Be happy to. I'm Matt Flynn, Community Planning and Economic Development Department. We have a good relationship with Scott County, and when development within our 2-mile fringe, where we actually have the ability to participate in the subdivision approval process, comes along, the county's always been excellent in trying to direct development towards the city and look at possibility for annexation. This property is immediately adjacent to the city, so potentially that could happen, but the main tool that we have in our comprehensive plan is our urban service boundary. If you are outside of that area, that's an indication that the city, for sewer, public works, emergency services, is not in a good, efficient position to provide services. And that's the case with this subdivision. In addition, this subdivision was proposed not to be at city standards, meaning open ditches, no sidewalks. It's just was not a right fit for the city, either, annexing now or even in the long term. So that was the result of the city's staff and P&Z's recommendation for denial.
Madam Chair, may I ask a quick question? Sure. This is not really annexation here, however.
No, this is a preliminary plat.
Right.
But I believe the question was, why, did we have a discussion related to annexation?
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions, Alderman Cool?
No, thank you,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Matt. Any other questions from council? Seeing and hearing no one, this item will move on. Item number 3, resolution supporting the regional effort to create design principles for the Interstate 74 corridor. Is there someone from staff that can come up and just talk a little bit about, or are you going to say something about it?
I can
City
handle it from
Administrator
here.
Spiegel?
Yep.
Feel free. Thank you.
So this item is associated with the Q2030 Regional Action Plan through the Chamber. The city has had a position on the task force for more than 2 years at this point. And it's really the guiding vision that the communities who have land use control along this corridor, essentially from I-80 down to the airport, work together to create some cohesive sense of place around it. And we had heavy debate all the way from should there be an extra set of design guidelines that we all adopt, but that gets very hard when you have that many agencies. We already have Elmore Corners planned. Bettendorf has their downtown plan. So this was really the step forward where we would agree to work with each other to ensure that we design the corridor well, especially as we look at redevelopment in the future for many of us, but not to create any sort of binding extra layer of government associated with it.
Thank you. Anyone from the public would like to comment on this item? Anyone from council? Seeing and hearing no one, this item will move on. Okay. Item number 5, resolution authorizing the mayor to execute documents necessary to convey the following properties. What? Oh, did I miss 4? I marked it off. Item number 4, backing up one, resolution terminating the new economy corridor development agreement, all wards. Someone from staff just want to explain that real quick? Tom Warner, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the building that was created during the Vision Iowa program quite a while ago. In 4 years, that whole agreement will expire. The purpose of this building was to be a business incubator, which was shorthand for helping to assist startup companies, particularly in the agricultural area, but then they broadened that out from there to any new business, really. The chamber is in there now. A chamber entity owns the building. They would like to transfer it to a company affiliated with Kaizen, which was part of the original agreement, and the chamber will then rent or lease back space within the building. And they're just asking that the agreement terminate 4 years earlier than it normally is set to do.
Oh, thank you. Anyone from council? I can't hear myself at all. Seeing and hearing no one, this item will move on. Item number 5, resolution authorizing the mayor to execute documents necessary to convey the following properties. Parcel H0010-04, 1412 West 15th Street to Kelly Torres, and parcel E0016-22, 1501 Eastern Avenue to Kelly DeBolt. Anyone from the public would like to comment on this item? Anyone from council? Seeing and hearing no one, this item will move on. And last item on the agenda is a motion approving the allocations for year 45, which is July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020, Community Development Block Grant Funds and Home Investment Partnership Funds, covering all wards. Anyone from the public would like to comment on this item? And we have one from council, Alderman Ambrose.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank all the volunteers that serve on that committee. It's vital work you do, and I know it's very challenging, so thanks for your efforts.
Thank you. Anyone else from council?
Madam Chair,
Mayor, go ahead.
Very quickly, I just wanted to mention as well, for someone for years ago was on the other side with the not-for-profits that were involved in this, these are literally very, very, very important funds and extremely meaningful in the work that it allows the community to do. So I want to also echo for all of them, but also for all of us, thank you for all the work that you do.
Thank you, Mayor. Any other comments from council? Seeing and hearing no one, this item will move on, and I'd ask Alderman Ambrose to set the agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I make a motion that we move all items to the consent agenda.
There's been a,
I don't think we do that on.
oh, you want to put this on discussion?
Okay, we'll leave number 2 on discussion.
Okay, number 2 on discussion.
So moved, second. All in favor?
There's been a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed, same sign. And we're done with community development, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Alderman Rossin and Alderman Ambrose. Our second area tonight for discussion is public safety. Alderman Grip will lead that discussion. Alderman Dickman will set the agenda.
Thank you, Your Honor. Item number 1 is a resolution closing various streets, lanes, or public grounds on the listed dates to hold outdoor events. I'll read through all of these and then ask for comments from the public and council. St. Paul Knights of Columbus 5th Annual Blue Mass, 915 East Rushholm Street, Tuesday, May 14th, 2019, 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Closure, East Rushholm from Arlington Avenue to Cary Avenue. City of Davenport Parks and Recreation and Davenport Community Schools Youth Fest, Wednesday, July 10th, 2019, 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. Closure, West 12th Street from Wilkes Avenue through February Park to Telegraph Road. J&M Displays, Inc., QCSO Riverfront Pops Concert, Fireworks, LeClaire Park, Saturday, August 17th, 2019, between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., dependent upon the concert runtime. Closure bike path behind Modern Woodman Park. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on any of these 3 items? Anyone from the council? Seeing no one, these items will move on. Item number 2 is a motion approving noise variance requests for various events on the listed dates at the listed times. St. Ambrose University, final weekend in April. 518 West Locust Street, Friday, April 26, 2019, 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. in the Rogalski Center parking lot, and Saturday, April 27, 2019, 12 p.m. to 1 a.m. in student residence, music over 50 dBA. German American Heritage Center, Best of the Worst, 712 West 2nd Street, Saturday, June 22nd, 2019, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. outdoor music over 50 dBA. J&M Displays, Inc., QCSO Riverfront Pops Concert, Fireworks, LeClaire Park, Saturday, August 17th, 2019, between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., dependent on the concert runtime, fireworks over 50 dBA. Is there anyone from the public who wants to comment on any of those 3 items? Anyone from the council? Seeing no one, these items will move on. Item number 3 is a motion approving beer and liquor license applications. The first section A is new license, new owner, temporary permit, temporary outdoor area, location transfer, etc., as noted. And we have a couple of exciting new applications here in the 3rd Ward, a couple of local folks opening new eateries. Lopez Pizza, Lopez Curse LLC, 429 East 3rd Street, Suite 1, license type C, liquor. Taste of Ethiopia, Jeanette Moratis, 102 South Harrison Street, Suite 300, outdoor area, license type beer, wine. The Gypsy Highway Bar and Grill, 2606 West Locust Street, extended to parking lot, outdoor area, May 4th and 5th, 2019, Rev It Up for Awareness Rally, license type C, liquor. Rookies Sports Bar, 2818 Brady Street, outdoor area, April 27th through the 28th, 2019, customer appreciation event, license type C, liquor. And Azteca Mexican Restaurant, 4811 North Brady Street, Suite 3, outdoor area, May 4th through the 5th, 2019, Cinco de Mayo Fiesta, license type C, liquor. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on any of those events? Anyone from the council? Seeing no one, those items will move on. The rest of the items listed on your public safety agenda in the section B are annual license renewals, and we do not read those, but you can feel free to do so yourselves. And I would ask Alderwoman Dickman to set the agenda.
I move that all items be placed on the consent agenda.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Your Honor, that concludes public safety.
Thank you, Alderman Grip and Alderman Dickman. Our third area to be discussed is Public Works. Alderman Dunn will lead that discussion, and Alderman Condon will set the agenda.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have a pretty robust agenda for this evening for Public Works. The first item is the third consideration of an ordinance amending various sections of Chapter 12.20, right-of-way management regulations to clarify specific standards for wireless structures placed within the city. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 2 is the first consideration of an ordinance to change the name of a section of East 60th Street to Duggleby Avenue, located in Eastern Avenue Farms, 5th Edition. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 3 is a resolution approving the contract for the contract milling program to Tri-City Blacktop Incorporated of Bettendorf, Iowa, in the amount of $111,242.04. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 4 is a resolution adopting the Davenport Go Multimodal Transportation Plan as an element of the City of Davenport Comprehensive Plan. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Alderman Grip.
Thank you, Alderman Dunn. Alderwoman Tompkins and myself, we served on this group that was looking at the Davenport Go multimodal transportation plan, and it really has been a long haul. This is a comprehensive plan. It encompasses every street in our city. It really lays out a great plan that allows multimodal transportation throughout the city. And there was some real dedication from our staff, Zach, Clay, Nicole, Brian, to name a few. They spent many hours, but also a group of dedicated community members, some folks who have a real desire to improve multimodal transportation, and some people who really didn't. They just were asked to be a part of it, and they were asked to evaluate things. And some of the reports that we got were really cumbersome and took hours to read and required significant investment and time. And I'd like to thank those people for participating, for being a part of this process and moving the community forward. Davenport and the Quad Cities have kind of always been known for running. We've got the Bix, and we've got great running paths and other races. I think you can do a race every weekend. But in the past several years, we're a community that is more and more becoming known for bicycling. It seems like every few years the RAGBRAI is ending in downtown Davenport. The Criterium is held in the East Village of Davenport and has been wildly successful. And throughout the Quad Cities, we have many really good off-road trails where you can do mountain biking, and several of those are here in the city of Davenport. And those are all nice things, but that's not the reason why I support a multimodal transportation plan, and I support this one. But I think that any city worth its salt should be planning multimodal transportation. If you want to travel in a city, not everything should be car-centric. You should be able to do that on foot. You should be able to do that on bicycle. You should be able to take the bus, and you should also be able to drive. And so I think we need to have a comprehensive plan, and I think this should be added as an element of that comprehensive plan. And Mr. Mathias made a great point. You know, some of this stuff costs money, and you're not going to implement a plan this big straight away. We're not going to. We've got a lot of things that take our resources, but you need to have a plan because you don't know when the next big state or federal project happens and they come to make changes in your city and you're caught off guard and you don't have a plan. So when these things come up, we point to our plan, we dust it off, and we execute it as we put in new infrastructure and as we change old infrastructure. And then a couple of other things that I wanted to point out is a few, maybe 2 months ago, we approved the new trail at Marquette, bike trail. I think it's a little over a mile loop. And I attended some of those meetings, and one thing that I noticed was there was a lot of young people and there was a lot of families who seemed to be very concerned about that. And I think that's because this next generation of families are looking to live in places where they can walk to the park, they can ride their bike, not have to put their bike in a car to ride to the bike path, but actually leave their home with their bike and head straight to a trail. And there seemed to be a lot of interest in that. And I just took note of that trails and trail systems are now amenities for cities, and it's something that we need to make sure that we have. But I also wanted to talk about connectivity and the underserved. So this is National Library Week that we just celebrated, and a few months ago when we went through budget, we received a presentation from the library, and one thing they talked about was the underserved having difficulty getting to libraries, and part of that is sidewalks and being able to ride your bikes and all of these other ways that children would get there, because children aren't necessarily going to hop on the bus by themselves, and they're not going to drive themselves because they're not of age. And so building out a multimodal transportation system allows those who don't have access to a car to get to all of the other nice things that we have in our city. And I would use my own neighborhood as an example. I've got a really nice library that my family goes to at least once a week, and I know a lot about the city of Davenport, and it would take me some planning time to be able to get there using sidewalks. So I almost have to get out into the street if I want to get to that library. And I've had people in my neighborhood say, I want to send my children up to the library in the summer, but they can't get there on their bikes. Well, I think some paths have come in recently and some other things are happening. We're going to make that so that it does happen. And the other thing, when I made my appointment to this group, I wanted to make sure that our runners and walkers were a part of this, because it's not just a bicycle plan, it's a multimodal plan. So I asked that someone from the Corn Belt Running Club be included in there so that people who travel on foot also had a say in this. And one thing that as a council I hope that we remember is that our sidewalk program that we've been very good at in the last few years about making sure that we're filling in our sidewalk gaps, is that the sidewalks play into this multimodal transportation plan, and we have to continue to make those connections. And the thing that I would like to drive home with our staff, and Clay and I have had this conversation, is the desired path. So if you're going down a street and you see that the grass is worn down to dirt, that's because people are using that and they want it to be a sidewalk, and we need to make sure that it's a sidewalk so people can get to where they need to go. And then one last thing I noted is that having a plan helps various groups. Like I said, we've got a lot of groups who are very passionate about this. They want to make these things happen, and having a comprehensive plan actually helps them go out and to secure grants, not from our money, but other sources of money. So I'm supportive of this, and I hope my colleagues will support it as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Grip. Alderman Dickman.
Thank you, Your Honor. I wanted to take a quick moment to thank all of the stakeholders that spent many, many hours of their lives and a great deal of their energy in helping to craft this plan. I think that this has been a really great example of when all the stakeholders can come together with the governing body and come up with something that is beneficial or at least agreeable to everyone involved. And I think that that is a really important example of how when everybody is willing to work together, we can get something great. There was one gentleman who mentioned that sometimes when multimodal modes of transport intersect, that sometimes there can be challenges with right-of-way and things like that. And so I wanted to just quickly address one thing that I've heard as a concern from more car-centric mentality, is that there's frustrations that bicyclists are using the road, but those bicyclists are getting from where they are to where they need to be, and they're putting considerable less strain on the road, so that's less wear and tear. So that's actually saving your tax dollars for needing to patch potholes and redo roads and things of that nature. And then just my last comment is that this has actually been a quite enjoyable night. It's rare that we have this many people coming up who are happy and excited and telling us how glad that they are that we've accomplished something. So thank you to all of you for your time and also for coming up to speak tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Dickman. Alderman Ambrose.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, first off, Alderman Grip, very passionate about this, and he's devoted a lot of time and effort. You can tell he's an avid bicyclist, and I think Davenport's ahead of the game. We got great trails, great paths, and we continue to expand on them. And we're very fortunate to have Kathy Wine here from River Action. Hey, Kathy, would you please come up and talk a little bit about the effort to put in the bridge down at Credit Island? You know, it's all part of this great effort. And no, this is a Credit Island bike bridge, pedestrian bridge, or not Credit? Yeah, Credit Island. No, I know. I'm referring to the Credit Island, the connect the path. Please. And that's been a long time.
It has. It was Congressman Nessel that helped us with that earmark.
Some of these young people don't even know who
And, it's
Congressman
true.
Nussel was.
He is was a bicyclist, and so did Senator Harkin get behind this project, and we lobbied for it in their offices many times, and when we were thrilled when the funding came through and the city was able to do the design and come up with a design that everybody loved, and it is beautiful, and I'm so glad we have it.
And what was the final price tag on that?
Well, it was over $2 million, but I don't remember the exact amount, but over $2 million.
But it was an incredible effort, and
It was. Went through several design phases, but
And
I
we
think
made it
everybody's
happen.
thrilled with what it ended up.
as we sit back and watch the effort on the 74 bridge, you know, the city is such a can-do city. We got it done in months instead of 20, 30 years. And Kathy, that's up to you. You've done so much for our community, and we can't be thankful enough. Thanks.
Thank you, Alderman Ambrose. Alderman Mattson.
I almost lost my train of thought when we were talking about that, because there's two big bridges on each end. One's going to be built, and I was here when we built that other one. Okay, so that was good. So sometimes us older folks have to take a little while to listen and learn and hear from folks like younger people that are passionate, like Alderman Grip and stuff. Because I remember many years ago, there was a plan put together and brought to us about transportation, and we didn't approve it, we just accepted it. And there was a lot of concerns, and the group put together that came here from out of town about 2 days and made these grandiose programs and plans, and we were very nervous about what to do with that, and so we didn't approve it. But then this thing comes, and it's very different in that the plan was vetted and discussed, and so many people were involved in it, and the way they looked at everything and the way they put the plans together to interconnect everything in a way that made sense. And I was discussing this with some of my younger children who are now graduating from college, and 3 of them live here, and they go, you old people keep talking about how you rode all over the city with bikes and you were on the streets and it was unsafe, and why the heck do we do that? And here's your chance to fix that after 50 some years. And so now you have an opportunity to change that and make the place safe, and we don't have to hear your damn stories all the time about how you walked uphill barefoot and how you rode on the streets and how you did all that. Well, then put your money where your mouth is and fix the thing. So here we go. So I'm learning and listening. It took a while, and thanks to people who are passionate to convince us that this is a good thing, and the plan is actually so much better than the other one. So I hope we do it. Thanks.
Thank you, Alderman Mattson. Alderman Condon.
Thank you, Alderman Dunn. I want to thank everybody who led the effort on this, participated, and those that took your time to come out today and speak in favor of it. And I just wanted to make one point, that tonight's public hearing just before this was concerning the state revolving fund loan related to proposing improvements to the city's 1930 intercepted sewer. And I don't get a lot of public that come up to me and want to chat with me about that, because it's not a very approachable issue. And this is a very approachable issue, because we all have ridden a bicycle, and whether you're an enthusiast or somebody who hung up your bike a long time ago, it's easy to critique but that doesn't mean that it's not equally important to some of the other things that we're dealing with. And riding bike is a lot of fun, but I've heard from employers, citizens tonight, people advocating for the Tourism Bureau, that that this is really important. So as this kind of goes out into the world for public debate, I just wanted to point to that make that one point, that people smarter than me are telling me that this is important, and just because it's an approachable issue doesn't mean it should be treated too lightly.
Thank you, Alderman Condon. Alderman Tompkins.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank everybody for your time. So staff and all the volunteers who put your time and effort into this. I truly do appreciate it. Also appreciate y'all coming down here tonight. And I greatly appreciate, had excellent representation from the 8th Ward. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Alderman Tompkins. Anyone else? Seeing none, this item will move forward. Item number 5 is a resolution approving the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the 100 block of East 3rd Street streetscape. Anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 6 is a resolution approving the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost of the covering of the Kaiser Slatin Square upgrade project. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 7 is a resolution approving the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the state patching program. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 8 is a resolution approving the contract for the Federal Street Permeable Alley to Emery Construction Group Incorporated of Moline, Illinois, in the amount of $204,970. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move forward. Item number 9 is a resolution approving the contract for manhole rehabilitation project to Save Our Sewers Incorporated of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, in the amount of $2,390,226.60. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? I just want to pass on, as Alderman Condon related to sewers, nobody complains until they can't flush, so you can see we're spending a lot of money on our sewers. Seeing no one else, this item will move on. Item number 10 is a resolution approving the contract for the 46th Street reconstruction between Fillmore Lane and Marquette Street to N.J. Miller Incorporated of Bettendorf, Iowa, in the amount of $237,210.50. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council. Alderman Mattson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say thanks to Nicole and Public Works. The neighbors were talking about this today, and I said it's on the agenda and you should come down and say something. They said, well, you're going to be there, so you can just say it. So again, thanks. As I've bellyached to you many times about this corner and how this is going to be a great thing, I just want to, on behalf of the folks that live there, thank you very much.
Thank you, Alderman Mattson. Anyone else? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 11 is a resolution approving the contract for the Elmwood Avenue reconstruction between Lincoln and Linwood Project to Hawkeye Paving Corporation of Bettendorf, Iowa, in the amount of $340,551. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council. Alderman McGinnis.
Thank you, Alderman Dunn. Again, many thanks to staff for working with the neighbors. The neighbors have been very proactive in expressing their concerns and working with staff, and staff has been great in rolling out this plan and looking at, because this is going to be a major work, and it's going to impact their lives. And I just want to thank staff for looking ahead to that and working with them. So,
thank you, Alderman McGinnis. Seeing no one else, this item will move on. Item number 12 is a resolution approving the contract for the Elmore Avenue patching project to CDMI Concrete Contractors Incorporated of East Moline, Illinois, in the amount of $206,686. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council. Seeing none, this item will move forward. Item number 13 is a resolution awarding the contract for the General Street resurfacing contract to Hawkeye Paving Corporation of Bettendorf, Iowa, in the amount of $955,627. Before I ask for comment, do we have someone from staff that can come up and give us an update on this project?
Brian?
Brian Shad, Public Works. One of the items that we see as we work through our construction season is we'd always like to see the contractors work a little faster, work a little more. There's always a delicate balance between giving an appropriate amount of time as well as the bid prices that we see and pricing ourselves out. So we continue to tweak our contract documents. What we've done on this one is instead of adding all those working days together in one lump sum, we've taken those reasonable amount of working days for each specific section. So it's a little bit more appropriate. It's incentive on the contractor, and I believe we'll see good work.
Thanks, Brian. Anyone from the council? Alderman Ambrose.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First off, Brian, we continue to try to improve the timeline with keeping the impact to the neighborhoods and the businesses minimal. And hopefully this year is better than last year, and last year was better than the year before. So I appreciate the effort, and I know keeping this minimalized to the neighbors and the businesses is extremely important. The West Locust project last year had a huge impact on a lot of businesses in that area. So I appreciate the efforts, and every year we continue to get better. Thanks.
Thank you, Alderman Ambrose. Alderman Mattson.
Brian, just not a question, just so I can say it to you. I know we've had with this company, we've worked and improved hugely, and I appreciate you and your staff talking with them and doing that. And the project that's just going on at Marquette right now and 35th, the time has, and I said to Ms. Gleason, please keep an eye. It's done a good job, so I appreciate you doing that. The only thing I'll say, and this is the one thing that comes up over and over, is make sure people stay on the project and do the project. Don't spread out to do bunches of projects, so we extend all of them. So thank you for keeping your eye on the ball, and I'd ask you to, on this one, make sure they stay on the project and get it done, and so we don't jump to try and do multiple instead of getting those done. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Mattson. Seeing no one else, this item will move on. And finally, item number 14 is a motion to approve the contract for glazing and door replacement repair services to Mid-American Glazing Systems of Davenport, Iowa. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council. Seeing none, this item will move on. Alderman Condon, would you set the agenda, please? Oh, I'm sorry. Alderman Ambrose.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was wondering if you would allow our Public Works Director to come up and give the public an update on the flood.
Oh, I sure would. Nicole, would you please come up and give us an update on the flood?
It's flooding.
Hi, Nicole Gleason, Public Works Director. We do have all of our detours set up presently. The river has come up some more, so we are still expecting a little bit more impact on River Drive, potentially on Mound. We've also had indications from Bettendorf that they'll have impact on their River Drive. So we just encourage the public to sign up for our online alerts. Our flood updates come out as we think there's a significant enough change for the public to be aware, so they can be aware of those detours. We still are expecting the crest to be around 20.3 sometime early next week. But finally, north of us, we are starting to see that flood water go down. So we're hopeful that shortly after Tuesday or Wednesday next week, we'll start seeing some sort of return of the flood water. And then once that river is below 17.5, we will take that flood wall down and get things cleaned up and back to normal. So,
Nicole, what do you feel we're going to be able to get our baseball team back in this stadium so we can go down and watch some baseball?
we are working diligently on that, and we'll hope to have more of an update next week. But yeah, with the conditions and not quite knowing when that recession is yet, we're still working through that.
All right. Hey, your crew has done a great job, and we can't be thankful enough.
Great. Thank you.
We get
Appreciate
them
that.
back out doing some potholes, okay?
Oh, we are. Yep, we're on 10-hour days for potholes now, so we're working through them. Thanks.
Thank you, Alderman Ambrose. Alderman Condon, will you set the agenda, please?
I move to put all items on consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That concludes Public Works for this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Dunn. Did a great job with that extensive agenda. Thank you, both to you and Alderman Condon. Our last area to be discussed is finance, and Alderman Mattson will lead that discussion. Alderman Klool will set the agenda.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 4 items for finance discussion. First item is a resolution authorizing the conveyance of a parcel of land containing a pond located west of the residential dwelling with a common address of 6700 Jersey Ridge Road. The city of Davenport is the petitioner. Anyone from the public like to comment on the pond? Council. Very good. Number 2, resolution approving the contract for the purchase of a new self-contained breathing apparatus for the fire department from Sandry Fire Supply of DeWitt, CIP 63008. Anyone from the public want to talk about self-contained breathing? Council. Very good. Number 3 is a resolution approving 9 open prairie tax exemptions. Anybody want to comment on open prairie? Council. Very good. Alderman Kluel.
This is kind of an interesting topic. I wonder if somebody from staff could talk about this.
Who's the open prairie leader? Tax. He got out of the cemetery business, so now he's the open prairie.
Brandon Wright, CFO and Assistant City Administrator. It's a county process that they have for exempting property taxes on certain types of land prairie use for that. And so the county, before they approve it, they'd like to know that the City of Davenport generally is in support of it before they finalize those decisions. So it comes before you every year for this, but certain types of properties in Davenport can be tax exempt if its use is consistent with that prairie use. So
Is my backyard an open prairie?
probably not.
That good, Alderman Kluel?
It's good for now.
Good for now. Very good. Number 4, motion approving the purchase of 2 9300 GVW crew cab 4x4 pickup trucks from Reynolds Motor Company in East Moline in the amount of $60,318,048. I love the 48 cents. CIP 24011. Anyone from the public like to comment on the new pickups? Council. Very good. And then, of course, we have some purchases of $10,000 to $5,000. We don't read them, but they're there for your enjoyment. Having said that, I'd ask Alderman Kluel to recommend an agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that all items be moved forward to the consent agenda.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Very good, Mayor. They're approved. Back to you.
Thank you, Alderman Mattson and Alderman Kluel. Are there any other ordinance resolutions or motions this evening? Seeing none, is there any public with business this evening? Seeing none, are there any reports of city officials? None. Is there a motion to adjourn? Second, moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Adjourned.